What's good, you guys? We have a very, very, very special episode with guest Gabe Pluguez on this week. Gabe runs Default Kings, which is a fitness coaching business that does upwards of $100,000 per month. He's been running it for about 6 years now. It wasn't always the awesome business that we're going to explain today, but he's built a pretty cool thing here. One thing that you're going to pick up in this episode is I actually used to work for Gabe. So if you guys know about the whole remote closing, high ticket sales thing, working on his team was one of the earlier opportunities that I had back in 2022 to take remote sales calls from home for Gabe. Gabe leads most of the sales efforts for this business, and he has been for quite some time. And so we're going to get into some really strategic stuff for you guys, some game on how he's been able to do what he does. Honestly, like really well-spoken guy, a guy that I'm glad to have in my corner, and an episode that I'm stoked to bring to you guys. So before we get into the pod, you guys, please go down to that first link in the description. Subscribe to our newsletter. Every week, we're going to take the high points from these podcasts. So if you don't have an hour, open the 5-minute email. Along with the high points from these podcasts are going to be a bunch of recent news, events, tools, AI stuff, cool posts, funny stuff, socials. Funny stuff from the socials that are just relevant to sales reps, sales professionals, and business owners. If you sell something to somebody, you will benefit by reading our 5-minute newsletter every single Wednesday. Let us send it to you straight to your inbox. If you get that notification from Gmail on your phone, the subject line starts with the emoji with the sunglasses. You're in for a good read. So thank you guys. Go down below, subscribe to the newsletter, and now into the pod with Gabe. All right, you guys, we are back because of sales, episode number 11 with Gabe Pluguez. Gabe, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
So if you've known me for a little bit, you might know that Gabe is a longtime connection, former boss, current homie. So Gabe runs Default Kings, which I'll let him elaborate on a little bit, but been running that for 4-5 years, maybe longer, right?
Yeah, a little longer than 5 years now.
So I'll let you elaborate, but I wanted to have Gabe on because he's been through trial and error, the highs and the lows of running a business and taking how many sales calls?
Dude, I have no idea at this point, man. Like thousands on the same offer, which is kind of interesting too. It kind of paints the frame from my experience and my perspective, but yeah, thousands.
Yeah. And you've gone from having a sales team to not having a sales team to having one, like just kind of back and forth, and you've had like success with both. So I think we're going to be able to get into some really interesting stuff for anyone who is like business owner, salesperson. For those that don't know you, we'll get into your backstory in a sec, but like Default Kings, what do you guys do? Who do you help? Can you give us the elevator?
Yeah. So we do info coaching, fitness coaching business, and we target Christian entrepreneurs, have offers between $3K.
How have you found it niching down? Because I know you've been targeting Christian entrepreneurs for a while, but niching down like that, has it helped you guys a lot?
Yeah, it's definitely helped. It's, one of the most basic business principles that there are, right? We're just in the niches. And you go through all the normal mental blocks and mindset shifts that need to happen when you think, oh my gosh, my niche is too small. It's too niche. But naturally you get better at serving that ideal person. You get better at communicating their unique pain points. It just makes every single thing better. It's made the entire business easier and it's made us more effective. It's been a great experience.
Interesting. You've posted it a lot and some other people I've seen on socials, but the early days of Default Kings and I don't know if you guys were in the college library or something with the book stacked up and the whiteboard. So you've been at it for a while, man. What prompted you to get into starting online fitness coaching business?
What's really funny is there's a whole like backstory that I would give if you were, or your viewers were potential customers. That's like, here's why I do what I do, right? And it's all this whole, mission thing. But on more so the business side, I kid you not, my first business partner, we were working out together one day, and we kind of saw ourselves, honestly, it's just like above average, right? And I feel like every entrepreneur has a little bit of that. I think I'm somewhat in some ways better than the average person. There's discussions you can have around that, but that was a perspective we had at 19 years old, our first year in college. And we finished this workout and we're talking about, hey, what are you majoring in and what do you want your life to look like, essentially? And both of us were basically like, dude, I want to be wealthy and I want to do what I love and I want to take care of my family. And we were like, okay, well, how much do you make doing this, at the highest level? And it wasn't what we wanted. And we kind of went back and forth through each other and what we were majoring in. And so we just literally had this conversation. We were like, well, we should start a business because we have this desire of a certain level of wealth, a certain level of freedom, a certain level of being able to provide for the people that we care about. And so we're like, we need to start a business. Simple as that. That's all it was. Dude, the next day, because I feel like so many people go through that conversation in some way, shape, or form or have those thoughts. But the next day, we reserve a study room at my community college and blank piece of paper that, said business plan on the top. And we were like, what the heck? We had no idea what to do, no reference. We hadn't YouTubed anything, and it wasn't this era where everyone in their biz op is, sending you short form content. Like it was just no exposure. Just like, we want a certain outcome. We know the current vehicle, college 9 to 5, that's not going to get the outcome we want. We need to start a business. That's all we had. And dude, like we just started with like, okay, what is our skill set? What are we actually good at that we can help people with? Period. Because if you're not helping people with something you're good at, you're way off on the first page. And it was fitness. That's the one skill set that we had that we can provide value to people with. And so took that and ran with it. And, been in a million iterations, since. That was the origin.
What were you studying prior to doing this, where you were like, oh, we're not going to get as rich as we want doing this? What was that?
I started off studying biology because I wanted to be a doctor. And that paired passion for health and fitness with what at least you think about in the average world is a high income. But again, I went through a bunch of other experiences in my own personal life that made me skeptical of the system in and of itself. I was like, this is not how I want to serve people. And then when I looked at just the actual numbers, and it's maybe to the average person, oh, you're a doctor, you make a lot of money. Yeah, for the average income, yeah. But it's like still, even if you're taking home $500K a year, you just run the numbers on it. It's for a business owner that's nowhere near the ceiling that you want. And so I was just like, wait, when you actually run the numbers where I want to be, this is not the vehicle that lines up there. Plus you talk about the years of education that's required there. And it just didn't seem to make sense at all. Anyway, at that point, I switched to kinesiology, which is exercise science. My goal was I'm going to be a physical therapist. Similar income potential. I care about a little bit more. But it was the same thing there. And, I was in my 3rd year of college and I'd already started the business. And, we were just grinding, trying to figure things out. Our first few clients, we were having discussions with a professor or a guidance counselor or something about how do you get into physical therapy school, right? Because this was my next step to make solid income doing something I love. And I'm having a conversation with, again, professor or guidance counselor or whatever. And they're telling me that University of Central Florida is the school I went to. They're like, we only allow 2 students into the physical therapy program per year out of however many, or at that stage, I don't know what it was, a lot. You need to have a 4.0 flat. If you don't have that, you're not even going to be considered, let alone all these other extracurriculars and things you need to do. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I'm 3 years into college. You're telling me there's not even a shot that I can even attempt to get led into this system that's not even going to make like that much money, like nowhere near where I want to make. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? This is completely stupid. You're stupid, by the way. This whole system's stupid. And again, I had started to make it just a little bit of money with the business. And so that 3rd year of college, dude, it was crazy because I was still going to classes. I was doing my thing. I try to be a respectful person. But dude, it shifted from being in college, seeing what I could do, and maybe business was going to be something that I lean into a little bit, to I'm serving clients. I'm working on my business in the middle of class. And I'm just like, professor, like, I love you. God bless you. But like, I want to make more money than you. And also I was just like, I already know more than you. I'm getting this like elitist mentality maybe. But again, it was just this process of like running the numbers and realizing that the system I was in was not in any way, shape, or form going to get me remotely close to the life I wanted to live. Like not even close.
When you were working on the business in class, like how much money was the business making at that point? Was it like enough to be like the full-time thing, or was this just like, this is kind of working on the side, let's like keep going with it?
Yeah. So I think when I dropped out, I was taking home like $5,000 a month. So I was like, okay, no, I'm not where I want to be, not even remotely close. But I think if I did drop out, the worst case scenario, I wouldn't be homeless. That's the worst case scenario. Yeah. And so as soon as I was like, yeah, this is a viable thing, or I can see the growth trajectory, I was like, sayonara, goodbye.
Yeah, $5K a month is definitely not a little bit amount of money in college. When I quit roofing sales to go into the remote closing space, I made just under $5K the first month part-time. And I was like, yeah, I'm leaving this job. So that was kind of the number. Honestly, my number was $3K, dude. My number was, if I could do 3, that's at least like the proof of concept that this works and I can do more. Because you see other people doing bigger. Speaking of that, at this point, I know you're a big believer in mentorships, working with people, learning from others who have done what you're doing or wanting to do in college, or when you were making this 5K, did you at that time find the exposure to people who are doing this at a higher level? Because you said, Instagram wasn't every third scroll wasn't someone trying to sell you a business model, but did you eventually find that, or when did that happen?
Dude, that's such a hilarious question, because the first like 16 months of the business, we didn't like profit a single dollar. I don't know. We were making like legit the business revenue, 16 months grinding was like $600 a month, dude. It was just like crazy. And we were, grinding, working our faces off, working 14 hours a day, like while going to school. It was weird because we reached this point where we're like, dude, we've been doing this for over a year and we're not making like anything at all. What are we doing? We're insane. We might as well quit, or we need to make money like now, or we should quit because we're being insane. And so we got into Twitter. Money Twitter, dude. Oh my gosh. Changed everyone's life, right? But we got into Twitter, and it was honestly just like a attempt to build our social media presence. But we find Money Twitter, and Money Twitter, it was and at that time was this 2020 maybe? Everyone was telling you about their opportunity. And so find like the first guy we find, like go with like the first guy we find, some dude who made some promise, and I don't know, he charged us like $2,000 or we literally, dude, like no idea what we were doing. He was just like, we can help you make more money. I don't even know what he did. I think he built us a website maybe. Well, I have no idea, bro. We gave him $2,000, didn't make a single dollar off of it, bro. And it was like so funny because that was all we had. We were just like, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah, like I don't have any money anyway. Take it. So that failed. I wouldn't say I got scammed. I would never say that. I would just say like, guy was doing what he needed to do, and we weren't ready. But the next guy, same thing. Hey, I'll help you grow your business. Whatever. Here's your $2,000 mentorship program. Same thing. Yeah, take my money. Like, what do we have to lose? But that was like the first month where I can't remember what we did in like total revenue. It was like 1 month working with this guy. We made like 12K or something total, whole business. And but you go from $600 to 12,000 in a month. You're like, oh, got it. Okay, cool. We just need to actually learn what to do. And so, yeah, 100%. We've worked with so many different mentors for different areas of the business and different areas of life, honestly. But yeah, huge believer in investing in mentors.
What did you change to go from 600 to 12,000?
I don't even know. I literally can't even tell you. We were literally, here's the thing. This is, I think, maybe applicable to the audience. If you have not learned the skill, you're an unviable vehicle in the system. You cannot be effective if you don't know the skill. It doesn't matter like how hard you're trying, how passionate you are, what your work ethic is. We knew fitness. We had that skill set. Our work ethic was insane, extremely disciplined, extremely hardworking. We're not distracted. We're committed. Again, like we're grinding on this thing for over a year, 14-hour days, sacrificing things, saying no to things. We were grinding, but we literally did not know what to do. We were staring into a computer screen, wondering if we were doing the right thing, completely failing. So it didn't even matter how much effort we were putting in. And I think the reason there was such like a rapid shift was because we already had the effort and the intent, but when somebody told us where to put it, it's like, that's how things work. And so again, it doesn't matter how hard you try. This is the same experience I've had with sales mentors, right? It's like, yes, Gabe, he cares and he's trying really hard, but it doesn't matter if you don't know what to do. And as soon as you know what to do, it's the biggest cheat code in the world for literally any area of life. And I'm obviously a firm believer in this when it comes to business and sales, but like, this is why I have a business. The clients that I serve, they're trying, but they literally don't know what to do. And it's so long as they invest in mentorship, which you don't know what to do, it's like, boom, there's your result. It's as simple as that.
What's one of the biggest early on, like complete flops from maybe it was a marketing thing, maybe it was a sales thing, a fulfillment thing, something that you guys put either like a lot of money or a lot of time into, working in the wrong direction, and eventually you just probably cut ties or something like that?
I have a funny one for you. Man, this is so funny. You know who this is? I'm not going to say their name, but we had someone, I'm actually like personal friends with this person. He would laugh at the story if you heard it. But we had a personal friend who was mentoring us. And I'm not even going to say what he was mentoring us in because people will be able to figure it out. But he was mentoring us in one area of the business that he had a skill set in. And it was going fine. All right. Swimmingly. And it's so funny. You're a part of this. This is hilarious. Yeah. You were there with me. So that person was mentoring us in that area. And he presented an offer to us that was like, I don't know, a $9,000 investment to help us with something completely different, that we were going to be their first client ever in this area. And we were just like, yeah, like we trust you. Here you go. Here's a $9,000. And yeah, that didn't return a single dollar. But I think the biggest lesson I learned was like, this is actually a lesson I've had to continually learn. time and time again. It's been an interesting sticking point in different stages of the business from a mindset perspective. But the lesson I had to learn was that when we're making decisions of where to invest our money in the business, whether that's mentorship, people, whatever the marketing vehicle is, it's so interesting because some people will take the frame of like relationships are everything, but we cannot let the relationship like dictate what is logically best for the business, like simply on paper. And that's what we did. And it didn't work out at all. And it actually like jeopardized the relationship in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Part of business, unfortunately, you can listen to all these people try things that didn't work or like work with people. And I'm just speaking like holistically about pushing your business forward. I've had some stuff, man, where I put big money down and same thing, like $0 return, like actually negative because like I paid this person to help me with ads and then I had to spend money on the ads and like, I don't know, it's a whole thing. I wanted to paint a little context for people. So this podcast, because of sales, we're not really focused on the high ticket niche. We're focused on sales in general. So we have a lot of people from tech sales, insurance, high ticket, real estate, everything, a lot of business owners too. For those of you guys that don't know about the remote high ticket closing, I'll paint a picture for you here. Gabe runs a fitness company. We've alluded to it a couple of times. In 2022, I was a remote closer for Gabe, just to make the record clear here. I think for maybe like 6-7 months and then we parted ways. Obviously we're not on bad terms because we're talking here. We've actually done another podcast too. If you've seen that one, you're an OG. Yeah. I mean, commission only remote closing, man. Like this is real, just to let you guys know. Hopefully that kind of paints the picture better for the rest of the conversation. And then, we were talking before this about kind of catching up. You're saying we had the full sales team. It was a machine. It was working and we cut down and we started doing sales. I'm curious about that. What really prompted you to cut back on the sales team and take over that portion again?
That's a great question, dude. It's funny because again, like these are all things that like transparently I'm learning continually over time. Dude, it's so funny because you were just like, when we teamed up, it was like you were kind of part of that initial, I think you're the first closer we hired, or maybe the first or second ever.
Yeah.
And so, especially with your perspective on sales teams from your experience, you compare that to what the operation we were running was in the beginning. It's just like, dude, that was a mess, right? Like, and it's, worked for what it needed to work, serve what it needed to serve. And, here we are, right? But, dude, it was a mess. And, so we brought on a closer because it was just like, we got to grow our sales team or whatever. We need to book more calls, need more availability. Like that was as far as we knew, really. So we had this very limited and immature lens on what it meant to have a sales team and manage a sales team and train a sales team and lead a sales team. But we honestly had an immature lens on business in and of itself. I think this is probably one of the funniest things in the world. I feel like people can make significant amounts of money compared to like the average person while not actually being that competent at business. Like we were grossly incompetent at business at the time, right? I don't know. Maybe we were just selling off of pure conviction, dude. Like just straight up, dude. But anyway, I think this could be very educational for people who are thinking about getting into sales because it is so important to know like what you are stepping into before you take a sales job, right? Again, like obviously like we were serving you and the closers to the best of our ability at the time. And you guys were doing the best that you could at the time. I think both of us were a little bit uneducated, to be frank. But the company was not actually in need of a sales team or ready to handle a sales team, both in terms of like the company's goal of just scaling revenue, plus in terms of the company's goal of being able to give a salesperson a stable, non-head blowing up feeling type of job, like just straight up across the board.
Yeah.
It's like, it's for eternally grateful for you and Leo, man. You guys just grind it out. There's some dark days. It's funny. But yeah, that's where we were at, right? And so there's probably something you see quite often with companies bringing on salespeople too soon without the right systems. And just like, quite frankly, without the ability to like properly manage the expectations of where the job is going to go for the salesperson. And so again, like didn't even have an understanding of this as a business owner at the time where we couldn't even look at our marketing systems and say, hey, there's something unsustainable happening here, right? We were just like, oh, we're doing better. Like it's just going to grow. Like, it's just like, which again, like beautiful, man, like that's great. Good attitude, but that's not really how it works. And so I think one of the biggest things we learned was that for us to grow our company, we were going to have to do a lot more work to be able to set the systems up where they're prepared to handle a sales team, a lot more work. And this is like a, I don't know, 2-year journey up to this point, right? What is it? June 2025. Yeah, a little bit more than a 2-year journey up to this point before like dismantling the initial sales team. What that meant was going just to me and Joey, my business partner, doing all of the sales calls. right? While we're slowly building systems and just making more revenue. That's like the main goal, right? But even right now, where our sales team as of still right now is just Joey and myself as the founders, we've gone through this whole process of like at least understanding that the system of the business, in my opinion, like has to be built to a certain extent before it's ready to bring on a closer. And also just, this is like so hilariously straight up, like as honest as you can possibly be. I think the founders need to have a certain level of honesty of just what the closer can expect coming in, because you're messing with an unsustainable business and then a mismanaged expectation with a human who is the closer. That just creates chaos, right? It just creates a ton of chaos. So I feel like some of the biggest things we've learned is like the business has to be set up in a more sustainable way before it's even ready to bring on a sales team. And also from a leadership standpoint, the founders have to be able to paint a realistic expectation for what that sales job is going to be. Every founder in their right mind, again, this is stuff that you've learned personally, even from your experience with us that you mentor guys on already. But if the founders like promising the world and unable to like substantiate that with hard data, that's a massive red flag. That's an absolute massive red flag. Again, like this is coming from a founder who made that mistake, not out of ill intent in any way, shape, or form, but just out of ignorance. And so we realized that and learned that in a major, major way. But yeah, dude, like we've learned so much, bro. We've learned so much. So much.
Quick break, you guys, for the sponsor. Who would have guessed it? The Serial Sales Community. I already told you guys I used to work for Gabe. I used to be a remote closer. Well, actually, working for Gabe was one of the opportunities that really helped me get my stride in remote closing. I had the freedom, the flexibility to work part-time and make a full-time income and work on a badass team and help people change their lives. I said it in this podcast, but there are people who I helped enroll with Gabe that went on to change their lives. Something like what Gabe had me do, be a remote closer for him, is what we focus on in the Serial Sales Community. 1099 contracted sales work from wherever, control your own schedule, and have the potential to earn potentially more than you do right now. The thing is, in this industry, sales training doesn't get you hired. Sales training doesn't get you in front of the right opportunities. Making an intentional effort to get in front of the right opportunities and be the best applicant possible is what gets you in the top-notch roles. And that's what we focus on in the Serial Sales Community. If you're looking for a change, you're burnt out, you can sell, consider the Serial Sales Community. We've helped over 500 people break into this space, some with a lot of sales experience, some with business ownership experience, some with no sales experience. Doesn't matter. If you go down to the second link in the description, book a call with the team, mention Because of Sales, will give you 5% off any membership you choose. Now, let's get back to the podcast. When you talk about the business not being sustainable, are you talking from a fulfillment perspective? Are you talking from marketing and fulfillment? Because for me, with my sales rep lens, I mean, you guys had a coaching staff, you had everyone's check-in, you had stuff pretty dialed in from the outside looking in, but what wasn't sustainable and what did you do to change that?
I think when I'm talking about sustainability, which is actually, it has been a strong point of ours, having great fulfillment systems. I think that's kind of been a hedge, a moat for us, so to speak, through all the other interesting things we've gone through. But specifically as it relates to the sales rep, it's the marketing, it's the lead flow. And so I don't even know if we had these conversations like when we first onboarded you. I literally don't think we did. Whereas like, okay, what does the lead flow actually look like? What can you expect as a sales rep? Because that's ultimately going to determine the earning potential for the sales rep. And then what data do you have to substantiate that expectation, right? On the marketing side. Completely. For us as a business, again, it's so funny because like there's no ill intent, but we literally did not have a system to be able to see at a bare minimum, this is what you can expect in terms of lead flow. And like, here's potential high-end outcome. We didn't even have that in place. Dude, we were just ramming we were just selling off pure conviction, dude.
Yeah.
I think when I say sustainability, it's from a business owner lens is, do you even have an actual systematized marketing effort? Right? Obviously, there's always ups and downs based on changes they make, but a systematized marketing effort. And then from a sales rep standpoint is, can that business substantiate an expectation using data versus just a super charismatic, aspiring leader being like, bro, come along for the ride, which that was me. Like that's the frame I took. I was like, dude, it's going to be awesome. Join the team. It's going to be really fun. And we're all going to make a ton of money. That was basically the pitch for the job post. But yeah, I think that's what I mean in terms of sustainability.
So when I came on, there was 3 partners. Now you guys are just 50-50, but you were always like the sales one. You were taking a lot of the sales calls. Actually, I think you guys were all taking your own sales calls, and then you switched to taking the sales calls, and then built the sales team, got rid of the sales team, all these things. But how much of your ability to help in the marketing, in the fulfillment, in all the other aspects like operations, but by being on the front lines, how much better were you able to serve those other parts of the business? Like taking all those sales calls, managing the team, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think it's actually I think it's a gift. Everybody's story is kind of different. There's like a good things out of however your kind of journey gets started. But when we started initially growing the business, I did take lead on sales. That gave me kind of a unique insight into what the market was actually asking for, what their actual pain points were for, what they needed help with. From a product standpoint, that meant, hey, these are the problems our clients are facing. These are the problems that we need to solve, period. Just like fulfill on the service, provide value so that you're like pure business, providing value to people's lives. On the marketing side, it just gave a better touch on mostly what I'll say is the messaging of any of our marketing efforts. Because you're getting that real-time feedback. You're able to articulate it to marketing or take it directly to marketing and then communicate the pain points. I think this is probably one of the biggest things we've also learned from a sales ops standpoint that we did not have at all before. Can the sales team, which again is me and Joey right now as the founders who we're running the marketing, but can we clearly articulate what the market is communicating in terms of problems and desires? Can we actually articulate that in a systemized way in the form of daily reporting versus just just a casual. But yeah, I guess to sum that up, it's being on the front of the sales team, which I think makes sense for a lot of founders in the beginning. It just gives you a touch point for what do the people I'm serving actually need from a fulfillment standpoint, and then how to communicate to them on the front end.
I think this was really interesting to me whenever I came on was the dynamic that you had to take to effectively sell to what was the average client. So you guys really niched down on Christian entrepreneurs after I was there, but you were still selling to men, and they were usually age 40, 50.
Yeah, 40 to 60.
2022. How old were you?
22.
Yeah.
23. Yeah.
So this is what I thought was interesting is you were really good, at least again, from the outside looking in, you were good for a 22-year-old at selling this solution to these people who had money. They were professionals. They had kids your age. What do you think made you good or better than most at selling to people that are like twice your age and all that?
Oh my gosh. And I actually get asked this question from different people in different areas because my clients all the time, they ask me, how old are you? I'm 25. And they're like, what? Wait, what? My mom will ask me, how are you selling to these guys who are your dad's age and older? I think from a sales perspective, I think that there's something to be said about age. I've honestly never considered my age at all as I've never had the limiting belief of I'm too young to accomplish XYZ. So just from a pure belief standpoint, I've never had that issue. And I think if you have that issue, you should it's just not true. You're not too young to do anything ever at all, whatever you want. That's just not a true thing at all. The other thing is when you're younger than the prospect, again, this is my lens, my experience, there's a little bit of a frame that typically older prospects will take just sheerly from the fact that you're younger, right? Well, I'm older. Who's this young kid trying to sell to me? You probably experienced this too, right? Because we're both around the same age. And I think that two things that really helped me were, number one, understanding how to take the authority frame in a sales call and not let the prospect take the authority frame in a sales call. That completely changed my life in sales and also just overall in a bunch of other conversations, how to take the authority from the sales call. And then I think the other thing is ultimately people are going to buy from people who they trust, period, age, gender, whatever. And so if you can get the prospect to trust you, then again, all these things, age, whatever it is, just go completely out the window. So I think they're the skill that I acquired was how do I take the frame of this sales call, no matter who's sitting on the other end of me? And then how do I make sure that this prospect trusts me? Those two things help me a lot.
How does it feel with what you're selling, being the business owner, but also being the salesperson that has to kind of push people over the edge when they need it, but seeing them go through your process and literally change their life, not just their health, but their career, their relationships, their own perspective on themselves. Dude, there's some people first name that I know went through the program with you guys that I had to push over the edge. I still remember their names. And then I see success stories. I'm like, we literally changed their lives. We saved this guy's life, But what is that like to you? I know it gives you more conviction in what you sell, but how important is that to you to feel that? And then how much more does that kind of boost you up to really close people, so to speak?
Yeah, dude, such a good question. And there's so many lenses to look at this one through as well. But it's the most meaningful aspect of being the business owner is doing those client success interviews and feeling and hearing the transformation. And dude, every time I do one, I'm just floored, right? These are the calls where I end the Zoom and I go outside and talk to my wife and I'm almost in tears, like, oh my gosh, this is, babe, like you don't even understand what we do. But she actually does get it. She's pretty in touch with the business. But so from a business owner standpoint, that's why we do what we do. Ultimately, the money essentially is going to get to a point where it's like we're going to leverage that for impact, and our lifestyle is going to be what we want it to be: amazing, awesome, super meaningful. But dude, impacting someone's life that's invaluable. And now, from a sales standpoint, dude, I think this is required to be effective at sales. I think it's absolutely required that you have that level of conviction and that you provide your brain with so much evidence that what you're about to do is going to serve this person, that you're willing to do whatever it takes. That doesn't always mean you're hard closing, arm bending people at the end of calls, right? But I'll give you an example. This is so funny. I was visiting my wife's parents in Palm Springs, California earlier this year, a few months ago. And dude, I'm taking sales calls, right? Just because that's what I do, right? And my wife's dad's a business owner. Yeah, he's done well for himself. So he gets it. He respects it. You know what I mean? He respects that I'm grinding there on the sales calls in the office. He just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, Gabe, good job. There's this call I had. This was hilarious, dude. Like, and I love this guy, by the way. He's doing great in the program. But had this call with this guy. And, we get to the end of the sales conversation and it brings up the wife objection, right? And do everything that I can to respectfully see if I can overcome it while like pushing this guy like respectfully to the edge, right? And, without getting into like sales tactics and how to handle that, we were at the point where it's like, if I push this guy like 1 inch further, this is gone. This deal's gone, right? I did push him respectfully. We essentially got the point where this guy's like literally telling me like, hey, dude, I want to do this, but I'm not giving my money today. It's not happening. It's like, all right, I'm going to blow this up if I take this one step further. So I'm like, okay, dude, look, I get it. And I book a call with this guy and his wife, which just, again, sales strategy hack. That's been super helpful for us. Shout out Austin Medlin. So I book a call with this guy and his wife. And this is like 2 days later or something. And on this follow-up call, him and his wife show up. This guy knows the price, right? Like it's just like he didn't want to give me the money on the phone and need to talk to his wife. His wife is there. I bring his wife into the conversation. I'm asking her questions. I'm getting her perspective. Wife is on my team, right? She's pumped. She's psyched. You can see her getting excited and the guy's kind of excited, right? And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. His wife's right there, knows the price. This is going to be such an easy close. They're going to be happy. They're going to be thanking me at the end of the call. Thank you so much, Gabe, for the opportunity. Let's go, right? Dude. And that did not happen, bro. So I'm on this call with this guy and his wife, and I get to what I think is going to be the close. And, I go for the close. And guys, same thing. Him and his wife present. Same thing, dude. I'm in the freaking guest room of my father-in-law's home. Same thing, dude. He's like, all right. And it was just like, cool. We'll talk. And then, we'll let you know what we want to do from there. Dude, this is a second call with his wife. Everything's on the table. There's no objection, dude. Like there's just no real objection.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh gosh. And I'm at the point where I could just very easily be like, okay, sure, I guess. I don't know. But it's the moments like those where it's like, man, everything in my body just wants to let this person say sure, no, and just let them leave. But that's where the conviction really comes in, because I have to have a conversation with myself in that point. It's easier to let this guy leave. It's easier to not challenge this guy. Like my whole body wants to just be like, sure, bro, that would be way easier. I don't want to sit here and debate you and try to get you to sign up. I don't want to sit here but do that conviction, thinking about the success stories, thinking about literally picturing this guy 3 months from now, way healthier, way more confident, better father to his kids, better husband to his wife. I literally start to picture that. And I'm like, I can't let this guy go. In the back of my head, I'm a bad person if I let this guy go. I'm a bad person. Austin Medlin, great mind.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dude, it's so good. This is right after we started working with Austin, by the way, if you can't tell. But, I'm thinking that to myself. I'm like, I got to challenge this guy, dude. And I kid you not, I kind of sit back and do one of these really just disarming body language. And I tell him very directly, I'm like, hey man, look, I don't want to be sitting here having this conversation with you. Honestly, that's kind of awkward. It's very awkward for me to be here challenging you on this. Straight up tell him. Him and his wife they're shocked. They're like, what the is happening right now? Right. And the context, my entire family, my wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law is having dinner just outside the room with family, friends, and they can hear this whole thing going down, dude. I'm just like, that's a whole other element. I'm like, this is so freaking weird, dude. And anyway, do one of these, and I'm like, dude, guys, I don't even want to be here challenging you guys on this right now. Like, this is awkward for me. It just really is. And they're very much confused at what I'm about to say. But then I re-challenge them. I literally, dude, it's so simple. Austin's so good at this, man. But it's as simple as being like, I understand. I think you need to do this. like right now.
Yeah.
And they're just like, dude, I can't even tell you how many guys I've been able to sign up from Austin just giving me the permission to be like, oh yeah, no, I understand, but like straightforward, number one goal is to help you here, right? I think you need to do this right now, actually. I think you need to pay now.
Yeah.
Because I think like you really need to do that to be the most helpful thing for you. Dude, and countless people I've been like, okay, right, and sign up right there. No matter what the objection is, I want to think about it. My wife, I'm like, dude, look, I know you think you want to talk to your wife, like, and like, God bless. Yeah, this is not every case, right?
Yeah.
Totally. But honestly, for you, I think you need to actually do this right now.
It's so funny because it goes against so much of, it doesn't go against, but it's so much more simple than what everyone else teaches. And people have that threshold in their mind, man. Even if they have this objection or this reason why they can't do it today, if you just challenge them enough times, let's say it's 4 times, they're like, I guess let's do it. Like everyone has that number. I mean, they don't go into the call thinking that, but everyone has that number where it's like, all right, dude, he's still trying. I tried to deploy this. I tried to use this. He said it didn't work. Like, I just guess I got to do this now,
Yeah. No, exactly. And it's so funny because there's so much psychology obviously that goes into that. But I think there's something about if the other person on the other end of the phone, this is something I constantly remind myself of. They're not stupid. They're actually a sentient human being, like for the most part, right? Most of the time. So your marketing team's doing the right thing. Not always, actually. But if you're talking to an intelligent human being and they know it's uncomfortable for you to sit there and challenge them again. They know that. It's borderline shocking to them. This guy and his wife, they're like, literally, dude, their faces is like, I was like, oh my gosh. And so, but there's something about them thinking he's really sitting here, really pushing me. He must actually care and be super confident that this is going to be the right decision. Like there's that trust. It's like, dude, I literally do not want to sit here, have this awkward conversation with you. I know it's awkward. Your wife is sitting there. His wife started crying. Whole nother side tangent thing. But like, your wife's in there. Your wife's crying, bro. Like I just say it directly. I'm here challenging you because I just want to help you. I think the best thing for you to do is sign up today, right now. Right. So I'm in this thing with this guy, dude, back and forth like an hour, bro. I'm literally sweating. I'm like, this is the most insane call I've ever had. And you want to hear the funny ending to this is the guy did not sign up. So he was getting visibly angry with me at this point. And he's telling me, like a grown man telling me, like, Gabe, I am not giving you me and my wife's money today. It is not going to happen. And I'm like, dude, oh my gosh. I push hard, dude, hard. And I get to the point where I think this guy's basically gonna, I'll pull out a gun and point it at me on Zoom, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do here. So I'm like, okay, I get it. You're not going to give me your money today. Just so direct, bro. But if you're not going to give me your money today, then at least you're going to book a third call with me. You and your wife. I kid you not. You're going to book a third call with me. And on that call, you're either going to sign up, but if you decide not to sign up, at the least, I'm going to give you the advice you need, dude, because straight up, I'm not willing to let you stay stuck. That's why I'm here in the first place. Dude, it was heated. I'm like passionate. You're booking a third call with me because I care about helping you. Whether you sign up or not, if you don't sign up, if you sign up, we're going to implement it right away. We're going to get your results. If you don't sign up, I'm going to give you advice so you don't stay stuck because I care. And they're like, him and his wife, dude, they sign up call next day, dude. Well, they sign up for a call next day. I walk out of the room, dude, I kid you not, man. My family, my dad, my father-in-law was like, did they sign up? And I'm like, no, they didn't. And they're like, oh, wow. They're asking me all these questions. I'm like, what do you do? Like, what was that? I'm just like, some people just don't sign up, right? So I told them. This guy doesn't sign up, books a second call, him and his wife, or third call. So next day comes around and having a good day at calls. I think I closed like 2 deals. I'm like dating Austin sales chat. Like, let's go, having a great day. Show up on the call with this guy. I'm like, dude, there's no shot. This guy's going to tell me to get screwed. He's going to tell me he hates me and I'm a terrible person for pushing him like that. Dude, him and his wife show up on the call. And I'm like, hey guys, hope you're having a good day. I straight up like, how do you guys want to proceed? He's like, we're ready. Pull out the card. I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me, dude? Obviously in the back of my head, obviously I kept it professional. I was just like, okay. Just painful. And I'm just in the back of my head, I'm like, did this shit happen? And, I have to kind of keep my cool and just tell them like, because now, again, owner of the business, they're going to be seeing me on the fulfillment side. I have to keep my cool and really be like, hey man, like straight up, I know that was a really meaningful decision to you guys. I know that was really difficult. I'm so excited to work with you and really take them through that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, dude, I don't even know what the question was, but founder plus being on the sales calls plus then having to fulfill.
Yeah.
Here's an example of that.
No, that was really a good story. You said earlier in that, you're like, yeah, they didn't sign up. So I didn't think we'd have the happy ending. But no, dude, it's just, that's the thing with sales, bro, like, and business in general. It's not one size fits all. If you were to follow some playbook and adhere to it, you wouldn't have got that sale, you know, but you had conviction, which I even got to the point working with you guys where I was seeing people that I would sell into it, get, you know, get rolling, get started, feel good, be happy. And I got that conviction. I think as a salesperson and business owner, if you don't have that, you're doing the wrong thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it's pretty simple for me to have that as a business owner, because this might be an objection in like people's minds. I think we faced this with when Leo was closing with us. He was like, he was never been overweight or anything like that. He's like, I just don't relate to these guys. Like, I just think they're stupid. Straight up. Like he'll say that. I love that dude. And you know, we were eventually able to get over that hump. But as a salesperson, it's like I do have a bias because it's my business, right? But as a salesperson, even if you're not, unless the person is a complete scammer that you're selling for or something, you can find reasons to be convicted on the phone. And if you can't find them, like, you just need to give your brain enough evidence, even if it's, I don't even know, like life insurance or something like that, which is such a common role that guys get into when they're getting into the world of sales. And it's just like, you know, can you say, oh, it's just life insurance, I'm not that convicted? Or can you find reasons, actual reasons why? Like, find the stories of how that truly impacted someone's life, or the peace of mind that provides to somebody's marriage because they have their life insurance taken care of and the wife doesn't have to be worried and there's less anxiety and now the marriage is thriving because the wife's not always stressed out about money or something. I don't even know. I've never sold life insurance. But I think the point is, as a sales rep, you can always find ways to increase your conviction on the phones. Always.
Yeah. What's something that you know now in 2025 that you wish you could go back and tell former you? Let's say once the business was generating money, when you were building sales team, that kind of thing. What do you know now that you wish you would have known then?
I think one of the biggest things I know now that I wish I knew then, when we were initially building a sales team, it kind of goes back to the first thing we touched on, which was the marketing of the business. There has to be a system around it. There just has to be a system around it. Specifically before you onboard a sales team, but for the growth of the business overall. Our story is unique, and we've touched on our story. You're up to date with that. But apart from all the good that's brought and how that's all part of this amazing, bigger plan of the mission, and how we wouldn't even be who we are now if that didn't happen, just practically speaking, there was not a system around marketing. It was just so much risk that when a change was made, that change needed to be made for where we wanted to take the business. It was so high risk, not only for the founders, for anybody who's part of the sales team, right? And also for the customers too. Like, if the business vanishes, now you got all these people hanging, right? And so I think if I could go back to 22 or 23-year-old Gabe and be like, hey, like, I need you to take a breath and make sure that the marketing side of your business has systems around it. Because if it doesn't, yes, you are making money and there is marketing happening, but if we're being honest, I have no idea how, and you can't repeat it, right? I think that's the biggest lesson for the last 2 years.
What would you tell the person who's watching this podcast, who runs a fitness related business, and they're like, Gabe went on this sales podcast, like, let me hear what Gabe does so I can do what Gabe does. Speaking to other fitness people out there, what's a big unlock that you've had that really helped you guys out?
Yeah, that's so good, dude. Oh my gosh. Dude, I think the biggest thing, if I'm speaking to a fitness person who wants to build a fitness business, I think the biggest, most infesting disease that fitness people have that stops them from building business is they think because they've developed the skill set of fitness, that automatically means that they are going to be able to build a fitness business, when those two things don't mean the same thing at all. There needs to be a level of competency in business that is completely separate from fitness if you hope to build a fitness business at all, period. Even with the businesses that you're involved in and you've been involved in, you have this incredible skill set of sales, which is a massive part of business, right? But that's still not business overall. And so you can be even incredible at selling, but that doesn't mean you're great at business, right? And so I think the biggest thing I would say is, if you really do, like, you're passionate about it and you have aspirations and goals and you want to serve a ton of people, you need to become competent at business. So another example of this is, like, obviously there's things I continue to learn on the fitness side of things, and the unique way that we teach it, of course, that learning never stops. So I can just serve people better. And, you know, we do the thing, right? We're not, sitting here overweight, so fitness, but 98.5% of my learning is in business. That's how I actually serve the most people. So that's what I tell other people who are thinking, like, I want to build a fitness business. Like, okay, can you learn
business? Let's talk a little bit more, not so like strategically, but I want to talk about, because of Sales Podcast, our whole thing is showing people the life that you can build yourself on the other side of learning how to sell. something to someone, whether you're the owner or a sales rep. Can you talk a little bit about how learning how to sell, doing it for a long time, going through trial and error iteration has helped you build a life that you enjoy?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think of sales obviously as a function of the business, but honestly, like overall as a broader skill of life that's just like required in my opinion. Because I think that what sales is ultimately, if we break it down like to a microcosm, is like you are influencing a person to make a decision that is beneficial for them and for you. But you're influencing a person to make a decision, which is like leadership at its most fundamental level. So the process of getting better at sales hasn't just meant that we've had success in business and money and financial freedom and the ability to provide for our families and take care of our families and live the life that we want to live. Amazing, right? But it's made me a better leader, period. It's something that's so funny because we're in Austin's program and you can see him using the sales tactics that he teaches when he's coaching in conversations to be able to influence people to make decisions. But I think that's the biggest thing I'd take from it is learning the skill of sales has made me a better leader, period. I apply what I understand about human psychology and about controlling the frame of a conversation and about being able to challenge someone to my coaching. I apply that to how I communicate with my wife. And I apply that to how I communicate with you on this podcast right now. Like every area to the marketing. Sales is not just a skill of being able to sit on the phone with somebody and get them to give you money. It's a skill of being able to influence somebody to make a decision. And so I think, man, I mean, like that benefits your life in more ways than you can ever ask or imagine. Take it wherever you want it, right? I think there's like sales analogies in the dating world too. It's like, how, you got these leads, right? And you're going to close these leads. And, I think maybe you even tweeted something like this. It's like the biggest deal I ever closed when, it says yes, right? So, but there's truth to that, right? And that like, I have influenced this person to make a decision. Right. And I think the natural objections that come into that is, oh, that's so salesy, or you're like manipulating people. And man, probably every person on your podcast says something like this, but it's like, yes, it is manipulation, but you're doing it so that you can help people. And they're going to be manipulated one way or another. And, for me and my clients, it's like they're going to be manipulated by their habits or people who are giving them wrong information to make the wrong decisions that hurt them, or they're going to be positively manipulated by me to make decisions that help them. And every single one of the people who go through the program who are successful, thank you for telling me. Even sometimes, thanks for the hard close when I signed up. You're welcome. I influenced you to make a decision that helped you.
Yeah. That's funny, dude. And especially you. So you said it earlier, 25, married, baby on the way very soon. You probably have a nice extra level of confidence in your ability to, well, I hear people say, I don't have a kid yet. I'll be married within a year. But I hear people say, you're never really ready to be a father, or you never feel ready, right? What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's really good. I think there's a spectrum there because, again, dude, I'm not technically a dad yet, right? She's a month out. But when I found out that my wife was pregnant, I was excited and overjoyed and thankful. And I think that ultimately that comes down to your identity and a perception of who you believe you are. Because some people find that out and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm screwed, right? Totally different reaction. But you can have it. You can find out you're having a kid and think you're screwed if you don't think you're capable of being a parent, right? This, again, overarching point is like, how much conviction do you have in who you are? And how much trust do you have in who you are? So for me, it was, did I feel ready in the sense that I knew everything about parenting? Obviously, absolutely not. In the sense that I was completely prepared to have a baby. We're doing a home birth. So there's a whole other thing that goes into that. No, of course not. But I was excited because I had conviction in who I was. And so, like ready to be a parent, as ready as I can be, while knowing I'm not ready, but super convicted that I'm going to be the best parent that I can be because of who I am. It's like, yeah, dude, it's like, it applies to sales and all this and business and all this stuff too. It's like one person could say, oh, starting a business or getting into sales, like that's super risky. You don't have this guaranteed paycheck, this wage, right? It's commission. It's just, it is super risky for you because of who you think you are. For, again, it's maybe unique to guys who have gotten into sales or business where it's like, dude, when we were making $3,000 a month, we knew it was going to work out because of who we are. We're going to figure it out. So
what's the next level for you as an entrepreneur or Default Kings? What's the next big milestone that you guys are looking out for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the next big milestone, honestly, the big focus for us right now is continuing to scale the paid traffic side of our marketing. We've done pretty solid and organic, mostly Twitter, YouTube a little bit too, but really getting into the paid side of marketing. And that's been, dude, it's been so fun. It's just so much more fun, dude. Honestly, it's just so much more fun.
Yeah.
It feels like because it's I don't know, again, people can hit certain milestones in their business with either or a certain focus on either or. But I think because we have a level of control, so to speak, over like what specifically is being said, how many people it's reaching, and you can just see like the direct, like just the ROI, you can just see the direct attributable return on the spend. And you're like, wait, like this is almost like a make money button, right? Obviously, you have to handle it the right way. But yeah, just doubling down on paid traffic. It's so fun, dude. It's so exciting. Yeah, I wish we did it earlier, but that's everything, right?
Yeah, paid traffic. I mean, especially in fitness, man, in the space that I'm in too, it's not one of the easier ones to crack because there's a lot of people out there doing it, right? Are they doing it well? It's debatable, right? But it's just, yeah, I guess we can end it on that. What do you think is helping you in a quote unquote red ocean make paid traffic work or start to work now?
Well, two things. The first thing is we are working with experts who are better than us. Coming back to one of the first points, we're investing in people who are better than us. I don't know, dude. Like, I'm at the point in business where I'm like, you're just stupid if you don't pay people who are better than you. You're just like, you just don't want to win. So, first things first. Second thing is, in a red ocean, having a conversation with Joey and guys that are helping us literally this week about this. But we're thinking through a lot through the lens of levels of market sophistication, which, not to open up that entire conversation, but in fitness specifically, essentially everybody is at fourth stage market sophistication. They've heard every single claim. They've heard a ton of unique mechanisms. And maybe when we were working together, maybe our unique mechanism was still pretty unique. So you can kind of just slap it on and people would be like, oh, that's the unique thing. Let me run with it. But the way that we do fitness it's not even unheard of anymore. And so huge thing that's given us a little bit of a moat and just I think led to some early success here is being able to articulately explain the process of how our unique mechanism helps them solve their problems. It's not just like a claim of, hey, we're going to help you lose weight. That's it. Everyone and anyone can help whoever lose weight. But we've just gone, straight to fourth stage market sophistication, been very deliberate about explaining how our unique process specifically helps them solve their problems. When that's done well, it's really effective.
Yeah. I think we will probably over time have a fair amount of Christian entrepreneurs listen to this podcast. Can you give us the rundown on how they can work with you if they're interested?
Yeah. Defaultkings.com. It's the easiest way. Go to defaultkings.com. All the information about what we do is there. And you can book a call and you can sign up. And, just again, like we said, the price points again at the beginning of the call, you don't have to make it have a hard, call like we talked about in the story. But ultimately, our goal is to help you. If we think we can, we're going to encourage you kindly, but also, aggressively if need be to sign up. So
I thought of this and I meant to ask you earlier, actually last question, but you guys have helped a lot of people. Do you have any crazy fulfillment stats around like we helped this many people lose this much weight? I was thinking a crazy one, if you don't have it, is like we've helped eliminate this many pounds.
Yeah. So we counted this 6 months ago or something like that. And it was 10,000 plus pounds lost across the board. Yeah. 10,000 plus pounds lost. We've had 800 plus guys last time we counted go through the system, get coached one-on-one in some capacity. Between 10 pounds and the highest guys ever lost 188 pounds. So yeah, we're good at getting pounds off.
10,000 pounds. It's super impressive, but it's hard to understand that. It's a lot of pounds, man.
It's a lot of pounds.
Yeah, it's a good marketing angle too, I think. Where can people find you? Where's your main platforms?
X mainly, YouTube a little bit, Instagram a little bit, but X, Gabe Pluguez.
Cool. Yeah, dude, you're blowing up on there. You and Joey both.
Yeah, it's been going really, really well. Again, like just working with people who are better than you, investing, and
yeah,
you just do better.
For sure. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Link all the stuff below. If you guys are watching this, you want to work with Gabe or just chat to him, go defaultkings.com or go hit him on X. And I think that's it. But thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, bro. Thanks for having me.
Cool, guys. That was a pod with Gabe. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Honestly, just great catching up with him. I haven't talked to him in a little bit. We're all so busy these days running our businesses, selling something to somebody. If you want to work with Gabe to shred a few pounds or just chat with him, go connect with him on socials or go to defaultkings.com. And if you guys are looking to sponsor the podcast or the newsletter, which I'm going to ask you to subscribe to right after this, let us know. We have an audience that's predominantly salespeople, high earning salespeople and business owners. And so there's a form down there for you. Let us know. We're looking for sponsors every single week. It's never going to be cheaper than it is right now. Lastly, if you're not on the newsletter yet, go to the first link in the description. Again, we are a newsletter first sales media company. Yeah, the podcasts are cool, but the newsletter is cooler. So go down to that first link in the description. And next week, we got a good one for you guys. I'm hyped to bring it to you. If you guys do like these, please subscribe, turn those notifications on, drop us a like, drop us a rating, wherever you listen, save us, download, do the things that help us as a business. It's much appreciated. We want to keep bringing these to you guys, and we want to make sure you guys are liking it. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.